Some of you might remember episode 203, where we shared a story about British pilots defending the Soviet city of Murmansk. Back then we mentioned a certain Zakhar Sorokin, and he was a person who deserves his own story. So you see, guys and gals, this is another story for another time. So, on the 25th of October 1941, Lieutenant Sorokin and his partner took off to intercept a group of German Bf-110 planes. Murmansk is a place where the late October means deep winter, minus 30 degrees Celsius, snowstorms, and near zero visibility. It didn't help the Germans, though, since it didn't take long for the Soviet interceptors to find them. And after a short, hard fight, 2 of their planes kissed the ground. The remaining 110s didn't turn back, though. They continued on their way to Murmansk. There was a complication for the Soviet pilots, though. A bullet injured one of them in the leg. The MiG-3's scarce ammo pool wouldn't last long, either. Once he realized there was no way round it, Sorokin decided to ram the German. And since no flight was possible after that, he landed onto a frozen lake surrounded by ice-covered mounds. It was still the very beginning of his struggle. As it turned out, one of the 109s made an emergency landing close by, so the injured Sorokin had to go through a hand-to-hand fight with 2 German pilots as well. On top of his thigh being shot, he also got a few bruises and a knife wound. Finally, he was alone. Alone in the dusk, exhausted, injured, and surrounded by a snowy desert. No hope for any search parties in such a place. The only thing he could do was to get up and go, try to prevent himself from falling asleep, never sitting down even for a second. The lieutenant continued walking even after he fell into the cold water of one of the creeks. He managed to climb out. When he could walk no more, he crawled. After 6 long, excruciating days, Zakhar Sorokin managed to get to Murmansk, where he was immediately hospitalized unconscious. This heroic feat was soon printed in every newspaper. It was so beyond what a regular human could do, few people actually believed it. But Colonel Neville Ramsbottom Isherwood, commander of the British pilots in the Soviet polar region, confirmed in his report that the whole story was genuine. Once that confirmation was received, the story became widely famous in Great Britain. So much so that King George VI ordered the awarding of the Soviet pilot with the Order of the British Empire. Crawling across an icy desert bore its consequences, of course. The frostbite on his feet was so bad, Sorokin had to have both of them amputated. They said he cried in his sleep, but not because of pain, rather for fear of having to leave the Air Force and forget about flying. Fate has its own ways, though. Sorokin refused to go home and learned to use prosthetics so well, he managed to claw back the right to pilot the fighter plane. He started with the familiar MiG-3, and later even tried the newest Era Cobra. He continued flying and fighting, and met the Victory Day with the title Hero of the Soviet Union, and also wearing his Order of the British Empire. He was a person who never gave up, never let his spirits down, and pushed for the goal no matter how scary, painful, or outright impossible it seemed. And just perhaps when you feel something similar, his story will be your inspiration.